What's up, guys? Codey Eatherton here with Rapid Response Roofing Podcast.
And we can talk about maybe some fun things that I think are pretty universal when it comes to folks getting into the roofing industry.
What's up, guys? Codey Eatherton here with Rapid Response Roofing Podcast, here with my co-host, Justin, our general manager. Today, we are going to talk to you guys about how to choose the right contractor when purchasing a roof and some of the things that you should be looking into before deciding on who to go with. So let's go ahead and get into that.
Well, first, let's talk about what the wrong contractor looks like.
Yeah.
Because there are
a lot of those out there.
We've got a bunch of names for them: Chuck in a truck, fly by night, whatever you want to call it. We got a lot of out-of-state roofers. You know, back in 2019, we had a big hailstorm here in Southwest Michigan, and there were roofers I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Up here knocking on doors, sticking signs in people's yards. And I heard a bunch of horror stories about people, paying money to some contractors to start a roofing project, and then they just disappear. Now, of course, that's more of an insurance angle.
Yep.
But from a retail perspective, man, is it easy to get duped by the wrong guy. Someone might come extra correct. They might come with a really nice flashy car. They might come with a polo, and they might come with a notebook and really look the part, but once they start speaking, you get that icky feeling like, ugh, I don't know if this is for me.
Vice versa. You know, they might be able to talk, but they don't look the part, right? Like, you want to make sure.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you hire a roofing contractor who's not licensed, who's not insured, who doesn't know what they're talking about, that doesn't have a good relationship with their manufacturer, someone who's not using a great product and isn't backing it up by a warranty, you could be paying for that roof twice.
Yeah.
Right?
Or if you want a free roof, go ahead and hire an unlicensed contractor, because technically you wouldn't have to pay them because they solicited in a contract and that they weren't licensed to be in. But no, that's horrible advice. So more of a joke than anything. So yeah, that's exactly it, man. So we'll lead off of that here. When choosing the right contractor as a homeowner, make sure that you are doing your due diligence as the homeowner to vet the company that you have coming out to your property, right? Mm-hmm. So before even making a decision on who you want to come out and even give you a quote, the first thing you should do is obviously look them up on Google. Yeah. Right? Look their Google up, see if they've got legitimate reviews, how many reviews that they do have. Check their website out very thoroughly. Make sure that they are a legitimate company. Look at their social media, look at their Facebook. How active are they? Are they making posts constantly? Are they showing off their roofing projects? All of those things authenticate the business that you're choosing, right? The next thing is the legal side of things. Like, make sure that you get online, make sure that you can verify that company has a good standing with the state of Michigan and that they are licensed. Request a COI, which is a copy of insurance, or a certificate of insurance. I'm sorry. Request a COI. Make sure that they are in fact licensed to be working on your property. Just make sure that you do the due diligence that you need to before you even bring the roofing company out. Now, we'll talk about how to vet them once they get there, but those are the things that you should be doing right up front every time before you bring a roofing company out to your property. Anything to add?
Yeah, there's a bunch of simple things you can do to quickly vet a roofing company, and that's, do they have a Google My Business page? If you're a legitimate company, you have a Google, you understand the importance of Google and the importance of search engines. You have a Google My Business page. You have reviews,
and you have to have a physical office location.
Yep.
To have a proper Google My Business page.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just by having a Google My Business page, we've done this. We had to go through the whole rigmarole where you have to prove to Google that you have a physical location with signage and all the things that would legitimize you as a company. So having a Google My Business page, where people fall in your Google search when you Google roofer near me
Yep.
can tell you a lot about that company. Are they spending money on ads?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say only a legitimate company, but a more legitimate company has ad spend, has got money going out to capture people to say, hey, here we are. Call me if you need a roof.
Yeah.
So that Google's a huge one. The other thing is, as you mentioned, there's social media. Social media tells you exactly what they do. Usually, if the company's leveraging social media the right way, you can get a peek inside of the company.
Yep.
You can take a look behind the curtain, behind the scenes, and you can say, oh, they've got an office staff. They have a physical location. They've got vehicles with wraps on them. They've got their logo all over the place. They've got shirts with their logos on it. These are things that verify the veracity of a company
Yeah.
and that they do what they say they're going to do. And that's the number one thing. I worked for a company in the past that had to change their name several times. If you figure that out, it's kind of a failure on the veracity
Yeah.
test, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, good point. I've known companies to do that as well. They'll change maybe one letter or just something in their wording, so that way they can keep doing bad business. That's how those guys roll. So yeah, great point. So we just talked about on how to vet the company before they even come to your property, right? So now let's talk about when they arrive. So the first thing you want to look for when they arrive at your property is, do they look the part? I mean, obviously, do they look like they are capable of doing your roof? Most companies, they may send out a sales guy. So, he may have a polo on. He may not be the actual guy doing your roof, and that's okay. But are they pulling up in a wrapped vehicle? That's one of the number one things, in my opinion, in today's age that you should have as a legitimate business. You should have wrapped vehicles coming to your house to give you your quote or whatnot. If what we call the chuck in the trucks here that we just talked about, if someone pulls up in a unmarked truck with a ladder rack, or someone pulls up in a white van and they got maybe just a little magnet on the side of it, that should tell you as a homeowner that they aren't very invested into their business, right? They're out there just roofing, right? A company that shows up in a wrapped vehicle, in company gear, in polos, they are representing a company that is investing into their people, investing into their company. Those type of companies are the companies that are going to be around for a long time to come. That's the main difference. Maybe Chuck in the Truck has his roofing license and maybe
Sure.
he can do a roof for you, but you can tell 9 times out of 10, those guys aren't going to be around for very long. They're not investing in their business for the long term, the long game, right? So, that is one thing for me. Just making sure that they look capable of doing the job. So now, once you've kind of vetted all of those things, the next thing is going to be the process in which they handle you, right? So first things first, you want to make sure that the person that is coming into your home, you want to have a warm and fuzzy feeling about, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to feel good about the person that you're talking to. So as a business owner, it's important to make sure you have people representing your company that represent your company in a good way. As a homeowner, you are absolutely, we all say we don't judge. We all absolutely do judge, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the first impression is everything. So when that roofer comes into your house, look for the little things. How is he speaking to you? Is he being polite? Does he act like he cares about the project, or is he just trying to give you a number and run, right? Because then it's just another sale for him. So make sure you feel comfortable with the person that is in front of you. Okay. Now, the next thing is make sure that you feel comfortable with the company that you're talking to, right? So if you did your due diligence before they even came out, you should at least feel somewhat comfortable with them. Now, you need to understand how they are going to take care of you, and you need to trust the company that is going to be doing the work for you, because you may love the person that's sitting in front of you that may not make the company that they work for the greatest, or vice versa, right? So make sure that you are comfortable with the representative, and then make sure you're comfortable with the company moving forward. So the next thing would be the product, right? Like make sure that you understand the product, make sure that you understand the value of what you're getting. Most homeowners make the common mistake of, hey, it's just a roof. We want the cheapest price. We want to get it done. We want this thing done and over with, which I don't blame you. You know, we all want the cheapest price, right? However, the cheapest price most often becomes the most expensive quote that you could go with, because that roof is not going to last as long as the better roofing system. So make sure that you understand the product that you're giving. Make sure that they're informing you on the product that's going to be put on your home. Make sure that, you know, obviously, you know, it's not just about colors, right? Like, you know, make sure you like the colors, of course, but make sure you understand the roofing system. Make sure you understand how it's protecting your home. Make sure you understand the warranties on the products that's being installed on your home. Just make sure you understand these things. So it's very important for longevity. So and then, you know, last but not least, you know, just make sure you're choosing a company that you're comfortable with the pricing on, right? So you don't always have to go with the most expensive quote because you think that that may be the best company to go with because they're the most expensive. And, you know, same for the cheapest quote. You know, sometimes just because they're the cheapest quote, that doesn't always make them, you know, the worst company either. Right. So definitely, you know, when it comes to pricing, you know, you always want to make sure that you feel comfortable with moving forward with the price that's presented to you, but make sure you understand the value before making a decision, because it's very easy to go with the cheapest quote because, again, it's the cheapest quote. You're going to save the most money, right? But did that company show you the value, you know? And that's really the main difference between a good company or even a bad company and a great company.
Yeah.
A great company is going to show you the value that you're getting. Some folks don't even want it. Some folks, you know, hey, we don't even care what shingle you're putting on my roof. We just want the cheapest guy. Which, you know, again, we can't knock you for it. We understand, but it most likely is going to cost you in the long run in some way. So, and then also too, I mean, you know, it's 2026. Everybody's offering financing plans and whatnot. So, you know, just understand your options before making a decision. You know, there may be another company that you know, it might be a more expensive quote, but they might have a better payment plan, a better financing plan for you. Like, just make sure that you're understanding the process, because roofing is, you know, it can be confusing to understand if you don't understand the process. But, you know, and no one likes shopping for a new roof. It's not like going and buying a new car where you're like, you're excited, you know, so.
It's not exactly fun.
It's not fun, and it's not glamorous. And you know, it can be with the right company. The right company can make it fun. You know, if they're coming in and they're showing you, you know, what this product could look like on your house, and then they're explaining, you know, maybe you're not in the market for siding or gutters right now, but you know, they're showing you your options, you know, for what you could have in the future on your home. So, you know, it can be a fun experience. It really can. But 9 times out of 10, it's pretty boring. So, you know, when boring, you know, when things are boring, things are slow. So,
or nerve wracking, right?
Yeah.
Usually if you're purchasing a new roof, it's because something has gone awry.
Exactly. It's really almost the same thing as calling an ambulance, you know, like when you come out there as an EMT, you're never dealing with a person on their best day. You're most likely dealing with them on their worst day. Right. Same goes for selling roofs, man. 9 times out of 10, you're not dealing with someone that's just happy to be buying a roof from you. They're buying a roof from you because they have to buy a roof. Either their insurance told them you know, they need a roof, or they can visibly see that they need a new roof because it's so old. So, you know, just take that into consideration as a roofing company and representative too. You know, on how to properly, you know, navigate that process with the homeowner and educate them properly. We're here to help. We're here to give a solution to the homeowner's problem, you know, rather than just push a price and push a roof on everybody. You want to make sure that, you know, that company has the right solution for your problem and why you're out there.
Yeah. You know, just to submit your points, you know, verifying that the company that you're looking at is a legit verified company, trusting the person that you're working with, trusting the rep that comes to your house is big. And, you know, you might say to yourself, you know, salespeople are smoozy. They're trained to make you like them. Well, that is true. And I can't argue that point. However, a good company takes the time, the money, and resources to train someone to do that, which means you have a good foundation behind that person.
Yep.
If they're coming into your home and they're having a conversation with you, and it's not all about getting you to sign a piece of paper and give them money, it's about how are you?
Yeah.
What do you like to do in your free time?
Yeah.
Oh, you have dogs? Me too. Like those are completely natural conversations.
Yeah.
And if that person's not doing that, then you should really raise some questions. Like, what's his prerogative
Yeah.
anyway?
Yeah.
So
100%.
verifying the company, liking the person you're dealing with, understanding the materials that you're being sold,
Yep.
hugely important. And then giving hitting your personal wickets. Do you need financing? Do you want this funded through insurance?
Yeah.
Do you want a bulk price? Are you selling the house? Is this your forever home?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. Usually your representative can help you solve those problems. And then, of course, the last thing is, what's the value that this person is
Yeah.
bringing me?
Yep.
Does the value outweigh the cost? It might cost me a little bit more to go in this direction, but I'm getting so much more out of it if
Yeah.
I do. And that's really the biggest point, I think, is does the value outweigh the cost? And if it does, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I think I pretty much already covered these two talking points, but one, you absolutely want to feel comfortable with the person that's sitting across from you talking to you, but also remember that you're doing business with the company, with the business that they represent. So, you always want to make sure you're comfortable with the company that person is represented, because anybody can come and give you that warm and fuzzy, but if they work for a company that's not so reputable, you're going to have problems, right? And to that, my second thing here is, again, just basing off the first impression, judging off the first impression. If a sales guy shows up and he doesn't have his boots tied, or he opens his door and he's got pop cans falling out, or his truck's all rusted out, those are things you should pay attention to, because if that person is not someone that's going to take care of their personal appearance, maybe they have a stain on their shirt, their hair is messed up, if that's someone that doesn't really care for their personal appearance, and they're not taking care of their work vehicle, and they're just careless when they show up and pop cans are falling out, how much care do you think they're going to take with your roof? Right?
Exactly.
How much
Yeah.
attention to detail do you think they're going to put into your roof? They're probably not. They're just going to get up there, they're going to put a roof on, and they're on to the next, right? Like, so choose a company that is representing themselves in the right way, because if you're anything, if it's our company, for example, Rapid Response, we care immensely about our customers, we care immensely about our reputation, and we care how our representatives are out there representing us, and just making sure that you understand that by choosing our company, we are going to take very good care of you, and we will pay attention to the small details, just like we do with our branding and our business. So
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a guy who sold for a not very reputable company. I was the guy with the magnet on my truck and the ladder rack, and I never had a company t-shirt from that company.
yeah,
I made sales solely on building rapport with
Yeah.
people. And
it's a lot tougher.
it's a lot tougher. And I have to say, it feels so much better to sit behind a brand in a company that I know and I trust
Yeah.
to do my own property.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. 100%. So, and then, another misconception too, is, and I'll leave it at this, is, years in business, this is our 6th year in business, right? We've made it past that. Most roofing companies fail in their first 5 years and whatnot. So getting through those first 5 years, may be easy, like financially, but out there selling it to the customer, that's going to be your biggest challenge as a new customer or as a new company. Is, a lot of times people are going to judge you based off of how long you've been in business. And just speaking to homeowners here, I would definitely take that into consideration, but I wouldn't put all of your eggs in that basket just because of how long they've been in business. Our 2nd year in business, we were doing just as good as we're doing now in business, right? So, most people, I think, when they have a younger company that's in front of them, maybe they're a little intimidated or maybe just a little nervous of, hey, this company may not be around for a while, right? So that's when you need to judge that company by how they're investing into it. We've had people tell us that in year 2. Well, we don't know if you're going to be around in a few years from now. Well, why would we spend all of the money that we do on our branding, on our marketing, on a brick and mortar business, a store and stuff like that, if we didn't have intentions of being around for a while? So,
yeah, exactly.
long story short, don't judge a business just on solely based on how long they've been in business. Judge them on the little things, the details. So,
yeah. I mean, although we're a 6-year-old company, if you could walk into our company office and take a walk around, and you would go, wow, these guys are professionals.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you can go to another company that's been around for 20 years and walk through their workspace and go, ooh, I don't know if I trust this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of how much
paperwork laying around everywhere. Yep. And so image, has a lot to do with it. At the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in, if you pay attention to detail, and you invest in your people and invest in yourself, people should pay attention to that, because they know that you're going to take good care of their roof, and they know that you're going to invest into the right products to put into their roof. We've got a guarantee. We didn't get into that. We've got what we call a no leak guarantee. We don't even offer a warranty, because everybody know how warranties work. Yeah. There's always this fine print. We just offer a guarantee, a no leak guarantee. If your roof leaks, we fix it. Period. It's a lifetime guarantee. And we cover the labor, we cover the materials. If your roof leaks, or fails prematurely, we cover it. Period. There is no fine print.
It's a no BS warranty. I wrote it.
Yeah,
I wrote it myself. And you know what entity in the United States government overlooks and oversees warranties? There is none.
Right.
There is none.
Exactly.
It's based on the word of the company who wrote it to you.
Yeah. So very, very important. And again, someone that offers the type of guarantee that we do, you can bet yourself that we're invested, and we fully back that, and we fully stand behind that. So, but anyways, guys, great topic. Hope you guys learned a lot from us today. We've got more episodes coming. We're going to keep these coming for you guys and keep you guys informed. We're here to educate. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you disagree with what we're saying, we want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments. Engage with our stuff here. Like it. Let us know if you love us, if you hate us, all that good stuff. We want the feedback, because, we only want to get better at this. So, but we're not stopping.
Tell us you love us. Like, comment, share. We'll see you guys next time.